So while 2025 was the year that taught me several valuable lessons, like technology is super expensive and it's only getting worse, thanks AI! Yearly challenges are super hard, especially when you don't have the time to fully commit to them, thanks capitalism, and overambition is your worst enemy when it comes to video making. Thanks! Me? But throughout it all, I was able to discover RetroAchievements, a site dedicated to giving older games achievements from arcade games up to the Nintendo Wii, though that's a story for another time. But with this site comes a community, and up until recently, RA creators can be best described as a bunch of scattered islands. So I took it upon myself to host a Secret Santa event with fellow content creators like Galaxis, Sock Owner, Pajama John, Nostalgic Juice, and Jonathan Went Gaming. Where to answer a question you might have, yes, having two Jonathans in the same call did cause some confusion. Jonathan, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm still here.
But in the Secret Santa event, I assigned everyone a random number, then spun a wheel where each number filled in 2 blanks. I won't speak about what game everyone was gifted in the end, that's their respective tale to discuss on their own time. Instead, I'll just tell you that my Secret Santa was Nostalgic Juice, who gifted me Rocket Robot on Wheels to master, to which I can only reply with a sigh of relief knowing that I just dodged some serious bullets. Now that the context is laid out, it's time to discuss the game properly. Released in 1999, Rocket Robot on Wheels is a 3D collectathon platformer developed by Sucker Punch Productions, who, before realizing that success comes from seeing how many people you can turn into furries, was a small team at the time who self-funded this entire game, and when seeking a publisher, ran into wall after wall. I'm not joking, read the Rocket section on Sucker Punch's Wikipedia page. I promise you, you're not going to be ready for half of the stuff in it. Where at the end of the day, Rocket came out to positive reception and commercial failure, to where nowadays the only time you'll hear people talking about this game is it being described as an underrated gem overshadowed by more recognizable N64 games. So is this game as good as everyone else says it is? I don't know, I'm only here to master this game. I just wanted to describe this game's development so my viewers can learn that making games isn't easy, since the less Pokemon fans there are in this world, the better. Now let's begin before the death threats start arriving. Oh, too late! So our game begins like most games back in the N64 era do, with Jojo locking himself inside of a cell thinking he has been possessed by an evil spirit, until his grandfather Joseph Joestar and associate Muhammad Afdal come in to tell him that he's not possessed, but rather he is awakened to a stand, which is soon named Star Platinum.
Look for the Gummy Bear album in stores only.
Hold on a moment. Hello? You're wondering why I'm talking about Stardust Crusaders and not Rocket Robot on Wheels? Well, you see, it was a test to see if you were paying attention, since misinformation is a big problem in terms of media literacy, with this being a good way of telling if you can spot it and call it out, or if the brain rot has reached the critical stage, in which you, my scaly friend, have passed with flying colors. Now get back to reworking the Year of Zelda challenge so it doesn't end up becoming an unfulfilled stain on this channel. Take care, Snake! Note to self, start organizing your Jojo folder. Anyways, our game actually begins with our main robot being told by Dr. Gavin, who lost his face after Sucker Punch realized that making human faces would require technology they're 2 generations behind on, to watch over the place for one night as he leaves to go party God knows where. I'm betting Space Mexico heard their menu goes 50% off on Fridays, leaving Rocket to just stand around doing nothing except making sure Whoopi, the tickets, the tokens, and Jojo don't go anywhere. So naturally, the moment he leaves, shit immediately hits the fan, as while Jojo might not have a stand, he has a plan and takes every token and ticket available, assaults the robot, then fucks everything up. I can see that while you were locked in a cage, you flea-ridden potato sack. Now with the general synopsis out of the way, it's time to get into the game proper, where the first thing I do is grab a ticket to get forward properly into the theme park. Upon doing so, we meet Tinker, the only other robot left in this park, who is going to be a vital player in our mastery quest later on, since right now, all we have access to is the first world of the game, Clowny Island. In terms of first levels, I'd say Clowny Island does a pretty good job of introducing the player to the main mechanics of the game, exploring an open level with numerous collectibles to get, which for this set means everything. From booster packs that increase your health, machine parts which open up even more of the level along with an achievement to boot, 200 Tinker tokens scattered all about from out in the open to fuck you, collecting all which not only rewards with another achievement achievement, but also a ticket, which are essentially like stars from that game with the 64 Italian men. And from my first visit, I managed to get around 6 out of the 12 tickets. 2 from doing simple platforming like with these flowers and floating boxes on the beach, with the latter introducing us to the game's physics engine, which for an N64 game holds up surprisingly well, but more on that later. 2 using the hot dog car, as each level has its own unique vehicles, with Cloudy Island having financial regret. And the last 2 coming from designing your own roller coaster, which is surprisingly more fun than it sounds. Heck, the last one managed to stump me for a bit until I learned that you could apparently place a higher roller coaster piece over a lower piece. Upon being satisfied with my progress so far, I left the level and returned to Tinker, who with the tokens I collected gives me a means of fighting, the Slam move, unlocking the first achievement of this set. With this new power, I was able to unlock more of the hub world before returning back to Cloudy Island. Don't ask me why, I'm just as lost as you are looking back at this footage. But this appears to be the part where I learned about the depths of this physics engine, so let's discuss that instead. Rocket's unique quirk compared to other 3D platformers at the time is the use of realistic physics, where with a simple button press, you could do numerous things like picking stuff up, throwing them via pressing down B and releasing, swinging on numerous objects, even the ones that you wouldn't think you could grab onto, and whatever else that happens later in this game. And the funniest thing is, despite coming out in 1999, the physics engine feels more fine-tuned and functional compared to games that came out within the 2020s. Since not only is grabbing onto something really responsive with no jank to speak of, but your throwing reticle is quite accurate, showing the arc you'll be throwing your object at along with where it'll be landing, which is best demonstrated in the midway, where you are given 3 throwing mini-games to clear, like tic-tac-toe with this chicken, who I didn't know you can mess with until after beating the game, which could have saved me from a lot of draws. Thankfully, the other mini-games of throwing balls at cats and feeding our nondescript presidents were a lot easier, granting me another ticket. Then I left. Once I was done dicking around, I decided to go into the second world, where despite the game clearly showing me that the sheep can stick to this thorny vine wall, which can grant me access to a very important vehicle for this level, I thought otherwise, and perhaps I should become a gaming journalist, cause this gameplay is looking like a good job application for that position right now. After a good 10 minutes of me rolling all over the place, I finally realized the obvious and used the sheep to climb the viney wall to get the vehicle that enables me to access the unique gimmick of this level, the paint system, where with the hover splat, I was able to get access to a good handful of the tickets placed in the first half of this level. Since during the Lost Mini Arc, I uncovered 2 halves of amulets locking this big door right here, and when I was doing this rather fun color puzzle, I found the last piece of the amulet and brought it to the door, which not only granted me more level to explore, but also another achievement. But with how big this new half is, I'm gonna need something to help me traverse easier. Thankfully, I collected enough Tinker tokens to unlock the next upgrade in Rocket's arsenal, the titular double jump, which does exactly what the name says, where I give this new move a test run in the bee house, because we're back to Cloudy Island, baby! Woo! Let's go, baby! I love the clown community! Not those clowns, they could use some joy and whimsy in their sad lives. And it won't be the last time either, so to save you and myself from the tedium of these round trips going forward, I'll be only giving them a passing mention unless something achievement related happens. With that being said, the double jump really does make the platforming a lot more fun to traverse, whether it's due to the longer distances you can cross, higher jump height, or the failsafe you can do in case a jump goes poorly, which makes the return climb up to the roof of this building so much easier, scoring me my 15th ticket, unlocking not only the next world, but also another achievement. It was also during this visit where I was able to collect all of the machine parts, which usually allows the player to access a brand new part of the level in some shape or form, where in this level's case is increasing the water level to make this lovely achievement float right towards me. From there, I collected a few more tickets in the level, leaving only 2 tickets left to get. However, I did get enough Tinker tokens to get the freeze ray, which not only lets me create platforms to stand on water, but also freeze my enemies in their tracks, as for some reason, they turn into heat-seeking missiles the moment they see something with only 1 wheel. But where did I get the extra coins from? Well, from the newest level I recently unlocked, Mind Blowing, where I learned the dangers of bombs. And aside from that, I just collected 3 basic tickets left since, you know. I was nowhere near the blast radius that time! You know what? I'm going back to Cloudy Island and getting all the machine parts that I missed for some reason to put this dinosaur back together so he can reward me with not just 1, but 2 achievements in the process. In fact, since I'm so close to mastering this level, I might as well get every ticket I missed the previous times, including one for getting all tokens. Surely it won't be that bad.
Where the f*** is the last
token?
Where is it? Where is it? Where is the goddamn
Token.
The bee house, but I... How about we just go back to paint misbehaving and get what I...
I'm making waffles.
Thank God this is a small channel, cause the moment you get laughed at by the #1 ovulating VTuber is the moment I delete my entire channel. You know what? I need to not look like a gaming journalist. So let's collect some tickets that I missed in both the overworld and mines. And ticket collecting I did, from throwing these screws into their proper place with a super strict time limit, for a secret door I didn't think to check, physics check, bombs, reverse Indiana Jones, another machine achievement, platforming since this is a platformer in case you forgot, and Donkey Kong Country. God, what is Pajama John mastering Donkey Kong 64? Not to mention that due to this ticket romp, I was able to collect 650 Tinker tokens, granting me access to the final ability in my arsenal,
Grappling hook!
With it, I managed to not only get another health increase, which I've been collecting off to the side during my playthrough since I want this video to have some form of structure to it, along with accessing the upper floor of Whoopi World, where I was able to get all of the remaining tickets in the overworld, including the 200 token one, granting me another achievement for my efforts. Though before calling it a day, I started Arabian Flights and managed to get some tickets and tokens for my efforts, since let me tell you, this level is quite the doozy. Out of every day in my achievement hunting career, I have never started a day as dry as this. Since from the 2 recordings I've done for this day, you wanna know how many achievements I got in the first recording? 1. And that was for simply unlocking a new part of Arabian Flights with the machine parts. Since the rest of that time was spent either trying to find 1 token in a minefield or flying on a magic carpet in a barren husk of air and buildings. Since Arabian Flights is one of the biggest levels in this game, with every collectible being scattered around willy-nilly with no rhyme or reason. Since while some are in their own self-contained areas that test your platforming or puzzle skills, others can be placed in spots like behind this building, which looks no different than the other buildings in the area, or by doing this super specific thing that if I didn't consult a guide while searching, would have made my playtime even longer. Finding things in this level is so much of a problem that speedrunners of this game would usually just skip this level until the very end, if not completely, depending on what category they're doing. And the worst part about it is, just like the other levels, it's really fun when the game isn't making you travel half an hour just for a single token, ticket, or machine part. Since most of my time in this recording was me slowly chipping away at everything in this level until there were 6 tokens left, where I just hit another brick wall and decided to go back to the mines in order to test my luck. It was at this point where I realized that my recordings were taking up a lot of space on my computer, so I decided to shut off the recording and take a break before returning to the game to finish off these 2 levels, where upon checking the explosive diamond caves for a 5th time, I turned the camera around to find it. Tinker token gave me a lot of conflicted feelings, but looking back at it now, I'm quite impressed by the amount of rage bait this singular token placement must have caused back in the 90s. Also, I managed to find the final tokens in Arabian Flights via off to the side of some area I didn't check in this Tears of the Kingdom size level. Now that leaves only 2 levels left to complete, starting with Pyramid Scheme, where unlike the pyramid schemes you'll find today, this one actually features a pyramid, along with the machine parts being out in the open this time around on account of the previous level's gimmick being Zelda. This level's gimmick is like a link to the past with the whole light and dark world going on here, where aside from the highlights of me getting a ticket in the completely wrong way, a freebie via using Nostalgic Juice's video on this game, surely he won't mind me copying his work, some fun platforming segments where I somehow missed the path leading to a health increase on one of them since this level has 2 for some reason, this puzzle which gave me more trouble than I'd like to admit, another Indiana Jones-like sequence which granted me an achievement for collecting enough to unlock the final level of the game, but I'll save that that for the end, since I got the biggest takeaway from this level, the glide bike, which at first glance looks like a barely functional mess that requires momentum and flies just as slippery as the carpet. But upon my several flights that usually end with me taking a hot lava bath, I grew to love this bike with its endless flight potentials and high learning curve, with level design as crowded as LA traffic. A beautiful case of Stockholm Syndrome if I ever see it. That's not Stockholm Syndrome. That explains so much. All of this to say that in the end, this was the first world I was able to 100% on my first try, with the second one soon to follow with Food Fright on the next and final day. Just like Pyramid Scheme, the machine parts are all in one place, so collecting them was rather easy along with the final health increase, thus giving me 2 achievements in the process. And aside from the rather interesting tickets like trying to properly weigh these gumdrops, this hidden ticket placed on the start of the level, and serving inside some monster's stomach with whatever this vehicle is supposed to be, it was rather smooth sailing, with the exception of me forgetting to explore a section, cause after the trolling from Mind Blowing, I don't trust this game's placement of collectibles. I was able to snag 3 achievements for the price of 1, leaving only 1 thing left to do.
ほう、向かってくるのか。逃げずにこのディオに近づいてくるのか。
近づかなきゃてめえをぶちのめせないんでな。
ほほう。では十分近づくがよい。
Jojo's world is truly the ultimate skill test, as it puts you through everything you've encountered in the previous worlds. From Clowny Island's bee house minus the bees, Pain Misbehaven's color gimmick where instead of pools of color, you have hopping painted blasters, which makes getting past this Imperial Guard much more challenging. Precision bomb shooting, which after the several explosions I've experienced, I've become quite a master at it, for the most part. The ultimate freezing and metal platforming test, the only time I recall this game's physics engine crapping out on me via these shooting platforms not sending me the proper distance, before ending it all with a giant enemy spider. And from my experience mastering this game, Jojo's world stood no chance against its invader, where despite Jojo's pleas and bargains regarding the carnival revenue, I wasn't getting paid for this video, so I decided to add the one thing his act was missing, an explosive closer.
僕らこのディオがこのディオが
Oh, try again.
I collect the final ticket of the game and fully master Rocket Robot on Wheels in 10 hours and 25 minutes over the span of 3 days. And as far as 3D platformers go, this game is quite fun, dare I say, hidden gems as the critics say, since while the set for this game is quite bare bones, the fun of this game's tight platforming and physics-based mechanics along with charming character designs makes up for it. Special thanks to Shadow Sonic for making this set, along with Nostalgic Juice for gifting me this game to master, along with everyone else who participated in the Secret Santa event. And now that my part of the Secret Santa event is done, it's time to sit back and watch how everyone else fares. But first, if you enjoyed this video, then you should consider subscribing, hyping, liking, any sort of thing to make the algorithm share this video, since I'd like to have an excuse to work on these videos more often, and making money from them that can easily be written off in taxes is a damn good reason. Yeah, that's all I got. Okay, bye!
I want the ability to have sex.